My country people to read all war everywhere don't scatter fire when you don't open it, they smell. Hey, don't be here. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu don't blame the Chicago University clerk, say now they cause the abnormalities and say now they do one way be say this yama yama and this wuru wuru no can't follow the way it's supposed to be. Me, I don't understand. So we they blame person say instead of saying you want right man, you can't go right woman. Instead of saying you want put the year where you finish or the year where you go, they can go put another year. Of which say every day don't they point out, we don't fit see this one during your election now. Say not be you get certificate. Say person wey get that certificate na different person entirely, my people. Tori don wow everywhere. It don scatter. Tinubu and they not fit trace the record. They not trace the record wey take go primary school, nursery school, secondary school, the university, who be papa, who be mama, who be brother, who be sibling. Nobody. Ah, this man, you be Methuselah. Hey, the story not end there. Oh, you have a bolo for my people as we continue the story. Sarah for grand, oh, make water from the beginning to the end. Okay, oh, the next one I can be say the next story. This group can come out to come talk say the judiciary they feel threatened. May they give dates, may they give the time, may they talk say see who we know, see who no we know, see who they want give mandate back. Oh, he say as far as say this word get a time and a season. The time when they do manifesto, they do election, they do campaign, they do all this zero. He say all eyes still dey on that particular thing. He say when the time come still reach, make dem take begin dey cast votes. All eyes still dey. When they see they wan talk who still win, all eyes still dey. When they dey the tribunal, when they do all the goings, all the comings, all eyes still dey. When they bring evidence, all eyes still dey. Then they come reach judiciary now. They come feel threatened. Say why they tag all eyes on the judiciary? My people, this man they can't slam all those people wey dey talk all those rubbish. If I wanna watch this video cool, the thing makes sense. The man say, if I want the man talk the word, I reason with the man, I nod my, I say yes, guy, you are on point. My people, the guy talk plenty thing, make I end down for here on another bolofua. The next story come be say, based on this case and all the evidence wey e point say Tinubu e no just join at all to be president because it is already disqualified based on the fact say he lie and he go forge documents. So all these ones na net media come bring together, come tell us, the thing in package, it makes sense. The thing e reach well. Wanna still try, wanna still watch this very one. Oh yeah, on another bolo for the next story which be saying e interests me well. Now one show na so mokuna just listen. So this very news, I like wetin Ayo talk concerning wetin WF Kumuyi talk wey go viral. She said this man is known for say make he dey preach forgiveness, make he dey preach let the past be the past. He hardly promotes vengeance, violence. He say no, all he own na be say he go better. So he's hopeful. Now that's his message right from time for 50 years. Now be waiting this man know. Even if the thing they spoil, he go tell you to make you get patience, say go good. He says so you don't expect this man make when they talk say Tinubu no he must be disqualified. Say no. He said the way he take talk now so Christian they talk. You know based on say okay a lot of people gonna think say okay maybe not tribalism or all those kind of things. Since Tinubu they maybe they be age mate. If you go to secondary school now we not know because they're not gonna talk that part. So now I really like wetin Ayo talk. The thing wetin she talk, the thing makes sense. Well. So when she just talk, I can't think and I say yes. Wetin she talk na true. But despite say wetin she still talk, I still disagree with her slightly. Why? Because e no good make pastors they chook their mouth for political matter because politics is a dirty game. Not be everything person they chook mouth put as a pastor. There are things you just let the sleeping dog lie and just tell them to pray. Tell your congregation, make they pray for the nation. So everything better for the nation. It go better for all of us. Make God give them wisdom. It's not something you say publicly. Like you feel mixed feelings fit dey and people fit misquote you even if you not mean am to be like that. A lot of people fit take am into another way and into another meaning. Area my people on a Bod TV, but we dey analyze all the strengths wey dey happen. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Wakoyo.
We are happy that everybody is part of what we are about to talk about. Of recent, we knew what crystallized from last year during the campaign for the presidency of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. From voters' registration, we got to proper election. After the election petition tribunal. At every stage, there has been massive enlightenment. It started by all the aspirants holding various rallies, up to the point there was the primaries of the various political parties, and afterwards, campaign. At every point, all eyes were pointing at a particular direction. After a while, the eyes pointed at the election petition proceedings going on at various places across the country, and particularly the presidential own, which was going on at the Court of Appeal. After that particular, the judgment has been reserved, and we know that before the 21st of September, judgment must be delivered by the tribunal. It has generated so much anxiety, it has generated so much tension, it has generated so much interest. This has led to the maxim that all eyes on the judiciary. Some people are uncomfortable about it. And being uncomfortable about it, it has led to some incidents which reinforce the belief that all eyes should be on judiciary. The question is, by all eyes being on judiciary, is judiciary being intimidated? Or the Nigerian public, are we performing our duties as responsible Nigerians who have interest and they are stake at what we are doing? 3 incidents have happened which have made it very uncomfortable, and there is need for this World Press Conference. The first one is the incident that happened some days ago, where the ACON, Advertising Regulation Council of Nigeria, banned the billboard of all eyes on the judiciary, and at the same time ordered that it should be pulled down. After the pulling down of the all eyes after the pulling down of the billboards, the next thing we saw that the people, staff, directors, and the deputy directors that approved that gave the approval for the erection of the billboard were suspended. As we are on that particular one, while all those things were going on, the apprehension of Nigerians were equally accentuated when a senior member of the Nigerian Bar Association was accused of trying to approach members of the Election Petition Tribunal in Kano. And it was stated by no other person than a member of that particular tribunal. And it was worrisome because it was done by a very senior member of who was unnamed, in as much as that issue is being handled by Nigerian Bar Association, but it equally amplifies the reason for all eyes to be on the judiciary. And some incident just happened on the 20th, that is on the 19th, on the 20th of August, when some members decided to hold a rally. 3 of them were arrested, one Ifeanyi Chigozie and 2 others. They were arrested. In as much as they were released hours after the arrest, because they were holding a rally saying that all eyes will be on judiciary, they were arrested by the police, and they were released hours later. But the truth about it is that as we are speaking, one of them is so traumatized that we are worried about the state of his health. We don't know what happened to him at the police station. Granted that he was released hours after that. It was on the basis of that that we have been asked to come and throw a light on the whether all eyes on judiciary, whether it is actually legal, whether it is actually our constitutional right, and whether there is anything wrong with it. I have decided to give this narrative to enable us know that at every point in time, Nigerian eyes were on something. At a point in time, Nigerian eyes were on registering to vote. At another point in time, Nigerian eyes were on voting. At another point in time, after the election, Nigerian eyes were on election petition proceedings going on at various states of the Federation. And at this particular time, Nigerian eyes is on the judgment that will be delivered anytime soon to be accorded. And the truth about it is that if people decide, particularly Nigerian citizens, decide to hold a rally or sensitization, it is allowed, it is within their realm, it is within their right. Particularly provisions of Section 39 of the 1999 Constitution and Section 40 of the 1999 Constitution, it allows people to gather, to hold opinion, to right of association, just like we are doing here. It is constitutional. And just like I'm talking, right to express an opinion, it is constitutional. The only time that we can be barred, it is equally so fundamental that it is equally provided in African Charter on Human and People's Rights. The reason at Article 11, the reason is that it is inalienable. It is a right which you have to exercise at every time. If you are not allowed to exercise it, the implication is that you may take to the street. The only exception, the only time is that there is a limitation if it is against the law. In this instance, or if it is outside the limitations that are placed by the law. There is no limitation that is placed by the law in the present environment which we are operating upon. As we are speaking presently, there is no state of emergency in Nigeria. So the provisions of Section 45 of the Constitution cannot come in, because that is the only time you can be restricted from having free association and free assembly. Or even Article 11, that particular exceptions that are placed in therein. So that being the case, everybody is allowed to exercise his opinion. Everybody is allowed to gather. Everybody is allowed to be part and hold opinion. The most important consideration here is that, this that is looking technically as a clampdown on people that are exercising their right. In 2003, a similar scenario occurred. That particular time, after the immediate past president, President Muhammad Buhari, lost the election, he decided to have a rally. Notwithstanding that there was an election petition going on at the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal in Abuja, he decided to hold rallies. In that rally that was held in September 2003, tear gas were used, and afterwards, a day afterwards, his running mate then, Senator Chukwuka Dibo, died of breathing complications. As a result of that, a revered senior lawyer, Femi Falana, went to court on behalf of AMPP, which was the platform under which President Buhari then ran. Justice Chikere of the Federal High Court delivered a judgment and clearly stated that it is constitutional for you to have your rallies, that the most important consideration is that such rallies shall not be held in the state of emergency, but at that particular time that such conditions or such environment does not exist, and that everybody has a right to hold their rally, and that Public Order Act 1, Section 1, cannot operate to contravene the provisions of Section 39 and 40 of the Constitution. And we all know that the Constitution is the ground norm upon which every other law is based. And any provisions of any other act or statute or laws that is inconsistent with the Constitution, to the extent of that inconsistency, is null and void. So it is on the basis of that that we've decided to throw light, and they say that all eyes on judiciary, there is nothing wrong with it. Because as we are speaking, there is no day that passes without anybody thinking about what will be the outcome of this presidential petition that is on now. Some persons, even as we walked in here, have asked me that question: what will be the outcome? I say we will wait for the judiciary to deliver judgment, and that is all eyes being on judiciary. It is just like saying the judiciary is the last hope of common man. Anybody that does not have any skeleton in his cupboard, we have nothing to fear. We have nothing to show any apprehension. That particular position does not in any way, it is not saying, it is not mounting pressure, it is saying that all eyes should be on judiciary. Let us see what you people can do. And we hope that at the end of the day, that we will have the judgment that will make everybody to be happy in some of the election petition tribunal that is going on. It can get up to Supreme Court, or in some cases, if it, assuming if it is a National Assembly election petition, it stops at Court of Appeal or that of the House of Assembly. But for Guba and presidency, they get to the Supreme Court. So everybody has a right, particularly if you are a Nigerian, if you are a citizen, you have a right to check and to aspire and to ask questions about how the conduct that will lead to people that are ruling you are going at the various election petition tribunals.
Over the past few days since the movement called All Eyes on the Judiciary started, a lot of things have happened, have taken place, and it is important that we got a lawyer's perspective on it to make us understand that everything we do is legal. And I want to say that the only people who will be concerned negatively about a movement that says all eyes on the judiciary are people who have criminal intents, who have extrajudicial intents, who want to do something illegal. It is unfortunate that some members of COPDEM and ordinary Nigerians who feel that it is right to call the attention of the judiciary to the hopes. The All Eyes on the Judiciary movement is in line with the popular maxim that the judiciary is the last hope of the common man. If any system tries to stop the people from holding the judiciary to account, then that system is self-destructive. That system does not want to stand. Because if you do not believe in the judiciary, then you are calling for people to take to self-help measures. If the people cannot come out to say the only people or the only institution we rely on in this matter is the judiciary, then you are asking them to take up or to take actions that are illegal. And these actions that are illegal may be violent, it won't tell good on our society. So the All Eyes on the Judiciary movement is actually a pro-Nigerian movement, a pro-national movement. It is a movement championed by the best patriots, those who are most patriotic, and those who believe most in Nigeria's unity, those who believe most in Nigeria's democracy. We are saying that the Nigerian judiciary should not rely on technicalities to give its judgment, but they should rely on evidence, on law, on constitutionality. Anything outside that, we do not want a situation where someone who came forth comes first on the basis of technicality. We do not want a situation where we are told that, well, what you argued is correct, but because you did not file on time, or because there is a misspelling on your summons or on your argument, we are going to strike it out. We want these matters in the judiciary or at different courts across the land, at the Presidential Election Petition Court, and at the National Assembly and State Assembly Petition Court, and Governorship Election Petition Court. We want these cases to be heard on their merit. We want these cases to be heard on the basis of the evidence presented. Are those individuals who are currently holding, occupying governorship, presidential, National Assembly, State Assembly positions qualified in the first place to contest that election? It is important that these things are ruled for posterity purposes. Because if we get to a situation where Nigerians do no longer have hope, do not have faith in the judiciary, we run a risk of destroying this nation. And COPDEM is leading a movement to say that we want Nigeria to remain, that we want our democracy to be sustained, that we want our democracy to be strengthened, that we do not want anything to happen to this democracy. That is why we are saying elections have held with all the presumed irregularities. We are now looking at the judiciary to do justice. In fact, we expect the Chief Justice of Nigeria to be at the helm of this movement, because we are saying what he should say. We are helping him advance his argument that the judiciary is the last hope of the common man. Any system, any democracy, any nation that does not believe in democracy, that does not work to preserve the independence of the judiciary, the faith of the people in the judiciary, is a system prone to death. That system is sure to collapse. People who are currently benefiting or who have long benefited from the decadence in the Nigerian system believe that it will have to continue that way. But I have to remind us that Nigerians have taken enough. Nigerians are angry. Nigerians are frustrated. And in COPDEM, we are trying to ensure that Nigerians, the anger of Nigerians, do not overboil into something that might be considered illegal and destructive. We are trying to save Nigeria from going down. We are trying to save our democracy by saying that the judiciary, which is the last hope of the common man, must do its work without interference. The legal practitioner here has referred to a case where a member of a petition tribunal came out to say that attempts were made to try to buy over some members of the tribunal to give judgments that are not right. And up to date, we haven't heard that security agents invited those who were accused directly of trying to bribe members of the judiciary. And I want to call on the security agencies to stop harassing people who protest legally. If you harass people who protest legally, then you are encouraging people to take actions that are illegal. You are encouraging people to take actions that will be detrimental to our national cohesion. If you continue to harass people, if you continue to try to stop people from embarking on rallies, from embarking on protests, from embarking on demonstrations, you are telling them to go back home and take up arms. And that would be very unfortunate. We are calling on the security agencies to devote time in arresting those who are causing trouble in this nation. We need their efficiency, we need their gallantry, we need their competence in areas of this country where citizens pay taxes to non-state actors. We need their proficiency, we need their competence, we need their gallantry in areas of this country where civilians sit at home on Mondays, sometimes for 2 weeks, on a stretch without going to work because terrorists have ordered it. We need their competence, we need their gallantry, we need their patriotism in areas in this country where kidnapping, where terrorism have become the order of the day. They should stop harassing innocent citizens. They should stop harassing people who call for orderliness. They should stop harassing people who are expressing faith in the judiciary. They should stop harassing people who are calling for the right thing to be done. We are rather trying to secure a better future for them and for their children. They are not servants of the political class. They are servants of the Nigerian people. The security agents are Nigerians. They buy food in the same market that we do. They have dependents like we do. They understand how hard things are like we all do. They also understand that the individuals who are currently occupying political offices across the country, a number of them are not the choices of the people. They will also benefit if the judiciary do the right thing. So we are calling on the security agencies that their major task, their work, their loyalty is to the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and to the Nigerian people. Not to the president, not to the governor, not to the House of Assembly member, not to the House of Representatives member, but to the ordinary Nigerian who pays tax, whose taxes are used to pay them salaries. They owe them that loyalty. Their allegiance is to them. And they may say that they are obeying orders from the executive, from the people in government. I know that the law does not say you must obey orders. There is something they say, lawful orders. They should only obey lawful orders. When you are told to go and beat up an innocent citizen for participating in a rally, you have a right to say no. Because your first power comes from the Constitution, and your second power comes from the people.
Ministers that have been chosen in the cabinet, they are not new people that have never done anything. If you look at them one by one, you'll see the good things they've done, either as state governments in the past, state governors rather, or as other ministers. And they are being, I would say, carefully chosen. If we support them, if we are not, criticizing every step and they don't know where to stand, if we accept them and we believe that God will work through them, He'll use them as instruments to build our nation, let's forget the past. This is a new day. And I believe, and we all believe, we're going to see new things for our country through our president and through the members of the cabinet. Good things will happen.
Well, unfortunately, I think it's that part that he said, forget the past, that got a lot of people talking. Let me take some reactions. This person wrote, was it not the same thing you said during Buhari's tenure, sir? We're beginning to doubt your integrity. And that's a picture, I believe that was from Premium Times, when he said that God would give Buhari solution to Nigeria's problems in 2017. Another Twitter user there goes, new things don't happen with faulty foundations. And the Bible said, Elijah repaired the altar that was brought down by Jezebel. It was on this basis that Elijah was able to call down fire. You don't call for fire when the altar is broken. The foundation through which this government came in is faulty, and new things can't happen. Your constituent, Ayo, I'm coming to you because, by the way, Ayo you're a pastor, aren't you?
I'm proudly so. I'm a Christian, and so. And I find it interesting that, I must say that Pastor Kumuyi is a man that I respect a lot. Yes. And he's been in the faith, he's been a leader in the faith for many years. And I like that the tweet actually drew the fact that he's been consistent in his message. What do you expect from a pastor whose message is on forgiveness and healing? And did you expect him to come out and say, no, punish him? And then you're teaching the Bible to a man who is a scholar in that. So he probably knows what he's saying. Mm-hmm. The Bible enjoins Christians to pray for their leaders. And so in line with that, he's asked us that, okay, no matter what happens, one thing people of faith always say is that no matter the economy is going to favor me, God can use anybody, even the devil, to promote his action. So I think it's important to highlight that. Mm-hmm. He's a dealer in hope as well. They often say that pastors are dealers in hope. They are there to give hope to people. He's not there to make people feel even more despondent and feel absolutely terrible. So he's worked and acted in his office. Mm-hmm. He's spoken according to his faith. Anyone can disagree with him. That's everybody's right. But he's been, whether it's Buhari, whether it's Tinubu, he's his position is to pray for those in authority, to hope that God will use them and that it would work well for Nigeria, which he did. So.
Yes, absolutely. I know you wanted to say something.
I completely agree with Ayo. As a Christian, your position is always going to be pray for your leaders, hope that they do well. And I know that I can very clearly say there are people I did not vote for in Nigeria, but I still want them to do well. I know that a few of my friends will say, and their I will agree with as well. Mm-hmm. There is still a case in court regarding this government.
Right.
So until that is resolved, it's going to be difficult for anybody to completely throw their weight behind the current government. So in view of that, we'll say wait. But during that waiting period, don't you want President Tinubu to do well for Nigeria? Do you want Nigeria to go to war because he's not being affirmed by the Supreme Court yet? Do you want Nigeria to go to shreds and pieces during the time? So the waiting time as well, there's still got to be prayers. During that waiting time, there's still got to be prayers to support to make sure that the nation does well. And if the decision of the court is positive or negative, whatever it turns out to be, then we'll go with that.
Let me take some tweets. This person wrote, that's a minister driving a car of about 300 million naira in a country where over 200 million people are finding food to eat. Tinubu is the driver of the renewed hope of the capitalist class. We can't hide these feelings for our generations to come. Rufai.
Let me laugh first. So the stock in trade now is going to be hitting the hands of the ministers. What's going on here? In an Abuja where we have a lot of problems. In an Abuja where you have problems with a rail line they ought to have done. Anyway, former Governor Wike has gone there. He said they're going to do it and complete it. Yeah. In an Abuja with all its problems all around. In an Abuja that had heavy downpour yesterday, that people lost property, houses came down and collapsed. So what we are concentrating ourselves on is hitting the guy. You see, Governor Wike should focus on his job and leave the theatrics alone. Social media will say things. Yeah, he's been able to debunk that he's not using a bulletproof car. Pure and simple, let's move off it. And people should not peddle fake news. But the most important thing is, he should focus on the job, not the theatrics of the job. Because he's been in the news for all the wrong reasons once he came in. This is the same man, and I wanted to address this issue, that said he will give people BP. Does he think it's a good thing to give people high blood pressure? Does he know what it means when people are reeling from high blood pressure in this country? He should just focus. Yes, he has started some things. I like the real thing he went ahead to do and all of that. But he should focus on the job, not the theatrics. And this one that a lot of people are hailing him is they are putting caps. He should remember the 48 laws of power, that never you outshine your master. Does he think he's master? Yes, there might be political contemporaries here, but Bola Tinubu is still his master. Does he think his master will be happy about all of this? Him to build his own personality cult? I think he had better be careful and just focus on this job. And don't allow, this, what is it called? So, if he said he had not officially made a request for a car, let's wait. Also, I have problem with his plate number. What's the meaning of FCT01?
Wait, he didn't say he hasn't officially made a request. He said that's the car that they gave him.
That's the car they, okay. Yes, that's the car they gave him as minister. So, my question is, what is this? Is it the government that put FCT01 in front of it?
No, but the idea is, is it the amount of money? It is a luxurious car.
No, it's a luxurious car.
That's the idea. Whether it's 300 million or 100 million or 200 million, that's the point also, a lot of Nigerians
that also speaks
trying to make. Yes.
To all of this, we are saying, okay, look at that money used to buy this car. You see that money goes to the Japanese economy. How about that car being an Innoson, a Nord, or a Jet
you
Motors?
Always talk about that, Rufai.
That's what we keep saying. Do you think a German minister will drive something that doesn't depict his country? How about that car being an Innoson? You see, and we keep saying that we want to grow Nigeria, We are not being honest with ourselves. See, when Nigerian government had a partnership with Peugeot Automobile of Nigeria, that they set up the palm plant in 76, 77 here, most of government cars were Peugeots.
Yes. I remember.
So why can't we go back to those days where they are produced in Nigerian cars?
Absolutely.
Because with this now, with the money that you want us about, you've enriched the Japanese economy. And that's why the economy will always do well over us.
I have a question for you, Rufai.
Yeah.
Did he actually say he will give people high people?
Yes, he said people that are working in the place, he will force them to do the work. He will give them high BP. We should cease all of this motor park talk.
Wow. There's a Daily Trust report that said UK bans street trading, accuses corn sellers of fueling crime. So these corn sellers cannot sell.
Everybody wants him to do well. But let's stop this braggadocious talk and every time, you know, that we'll do this and do that. No. You have to be able to bring people together as a leader. He's a man that gets results in his own way, but please, it's not by forcefully coercing people and all of that. No.
Yeah. Politician and journalist Dele Momodu, in an apparent jab at Nigerian politicians with large convoys and expensive sport utility vehicles, posted a 2018 video of President Emmanuel Macron cycling with the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Denmark, Lars Løkke, with the caption, "See the bulletproof cars and SUVs that both President Macron and the Minister of Denmark are using," adding that life is all about culture and that Nigerians are more monarchical in nature, and that is the absolute truth. I mean, I believe this Emmanuel Macron was promoting cycling, I believe, back in 2018. But this is a clear picture. I mean, how many times do we see our government officials going around, even just to even promote cycling? But I mean, I think that's the point Dele Momodu was trying to say. But we are still talking about President Tinubu's large cabinet. According to the Daily Trust report, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration will spend 8.63 billion on ministers' salaries and allowances over the next 4 years. The figure could, however, rise as the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission finalizes its review of public servants' remuneration. Many experts are saying the large cabinet contradicts Tinubu's promise of reducing the cost of governors. Kayode, this is actually the point I mean, this was yesterday's report on Daily Trust. 8.6 billion in 4 years.
I can't find the superlative to use in describing this. Do I call it heartbreaking, heart-wrenching, embarrassing, disgraceful, and I can't find preposterous? Yes, I'm looking for the words. This is, I remember many years ago when I used to anchor a different TV show on a different station, and somebody said, Nigeria is the theater of the absurd. And this looks like definitely a theater of the absurd playing out. Our problems, they said, is hydra-headed. When you have a few billions, 8.6 billion, for how many people over a period of 4 years? How much are they getting as salaries and how much are they getting as money that is extra that they're taking away? It's just unbelievable. And I hope that the president will look at this and say, let's cut to chase. Let's cut this down. This is not acceptable. But very quickly before I go, let me just mention what Dele Momodu showed there. Boris Johnson has done it. Boris Johnson has done it so many times. He cycles a lot, and it's something that happens in the UK. I've met so many people in government on the train in London, in central London, so many times. You will not see a commissioner in Lagos or in any bus in Nigeria. I think the one person that tried it was Femi Otedola, and that was viral when he went on a bus and somebody said it was concocted and cooked up, but you will not find them. Why? Because they have not made our public transport the type that they can also ride on. Same thing with the education.
You see them on the trains on the day of inauguration.
And let me tell you something. The shocking thing, Kay, is the fact that this same public officials that can't ride our public transport, we meet them on the train in England.
Yes.
So you can ride the public transport train in England. Yes. I mean, I've seen two governors.
Yes,
I've seen two governors on the train in England. You can ride public transport in England, but you can't make that public transport fit for purpose in your country.
Well said.
All you just do is to commission a rail line, and when there's first casting, we don't see anything working again.
Unfortunate.
Let the rail walk. Let the rail breathe.
The long-awaited response by Tinubu to the district court in Chicago is here, And going by what we've seen, it seems they've abandoned the issue of privacy. They are no longer arguing that it will violate Tinubu's privacy if the Chicago State University records are released to Atiku. For those who are not aware of this case, let's make a quick recap before we see their reasons for arguing against the release of Tinubu's records at Chicago State University. Before anyone can run for president or any elected position in Nigeria, the person must submit his particulars to the Electoral Commission. And once that person submits those particulars, it becomes public. Anyone or any candidate in the election can subpoena INEC, the Electoral Commission, to provide the documents a candidate submitted. That was exactly what Atiku did. He went to court and got a subpoena, and the electoral body gave him the documents that Tinubu submitted. When he received these documents from the electoral body, he found out that there were inconsistencies in one of the documents that Tinubu submitted. That document is the certificate from Chicago State University. Before Atiku Abubakar subpoenaed the electoral body to provide Tinubu's particulars, one Nigerian lawyer had already done that. But we'll come back to the lawyer's story because Tinubu's counsel actually mentioned the lawyer in their reply to the district court in Chicago. After Atiku Abubakar noticed the discrepancies in the documents Tinubu submitted to the electoral body, he noticed a potential violation of Nigerian laws because according to Nigerian laws, any candidate in any election that provides a forged certificate to the electoral body will stand to be disqualified. Based on this, he included it in the petition he filed at the Presidential Election Petition Tribunal, where he is challenging the declaration of Tinubu as the president. Also challenging the presidential election is the Labour Party candidate Peter Obi, who provided more grounds for disqualification of Tinubu in his petition. Among the many grounds he raised in the petition is the $460,000 that Tinubu forfeited to the United States in 1993. Before Tinubu made the forfeiture in the United States, he was under investigation by the FBI and the DEA. Even the US Customs had already said that his house address in Chicago was a drop-off point for narcotics packages coming from West Africa. So the FBI and the DEA, after conducting their investigation, were able to prove that these monies were proceeds of narcotics trafficking, which of course led to their taking him to court in absentia because he was no longer living in the United States at the time. The judge ordered the forfeiture of the $460,000. Now, back to Atiku on how he ended up in district court in Chicago, asking the court to order the subpoena so that Chicago State University will provide the admission records of Tinubu. When Atiku argued in the Nigerian court that is hearing the presidential election petition that Tinubu wasn't qualified to contest the presidential election, Tinubu's lawyers argued that he should provide proof to support what he said, that he should show reason why Tinubu isn't qualified, which means he should prove that he allegedly forged the certificate. That was how Atiku ended up in Chicago. Before Atiku went to Chicago, he had already called a witness who presented the evidence in the Nigerian court. Among the evidence the witness presented are documents they got from the electoral body that Tinubu submitted to them while he was filing his documents. Also, the documents they got from Chicago State University, that's the certificate. One interesting thing happened when they got that certificate from Chicago State University. After receiving the certificate from Chicago State University, they instantly confirmed that it's quite different from the one Tinubu submitted. So they wanted them to make a comment. Is this certificate from you? You know, that kind of thing, because it's quite different from the one they gave them. So they proceeded and gave them the one that Tinubu submitted. And immediately the Chicago State University representative saw it. He said, no, hey, there's a problem. Please disregard all the documents we've given you. In fact, destroy them. There's been a problem. We'll come in, started giving excuses. So they wondered, why would the university do this? They were subpoenaed to provide a certificate of one of their students. They did that, but when they were shown a forged one by the same student, they started giving excuses, saying that the one they already submitted under subpoena is a wrong one, that there was mistake, a lot of things. So evidently, it looks like Chicago State University is trying to cover something up. Why will they now deny and say that what they submitted was the wrong one? Because they didn't see the forged one. So it's quite complicated. Yes, the reason Chicago State University is doing this is not far-fetched because this information is public knowledge already. They've released this school record to David Hundeyin and his associates. That was last year. He released that information. But for formality's sake, the way you present evidence in Nigerian court, that's why Atiku is in Chicago. Atiku got a subpoena from a lower court. But instead of Chicago State University honoring that subpoena, they decided to call Tinubu. That was why he hired 5 lawyers and asked the court to be joined in the litigation. By the way, one of his lawyers is named Oluwole. People from Nigeria will understand what this name means. But for people who don't know, Oluwole is referred to something fake. When you say this one is Oluwole, it means this one is fake or is forged. What a coincidence. The reason for this backstory is to make sure everyone understands, because the last video, many people didn't understand. They were saying, why will a US court decide what is happening in West Africa or in Nigeria? No, it's not that. It's just because Chicago State is involved. Tinubu went to Chicago State University, but surprisingly, he's blocking his school records. And after his lawyers argued in court that his privacy will be violated if his school records are released to Atiku, the court gave him until yesterday, the 23rd of August, to prove to the court and make reasonable argument why the academic records will not be released to Atiku. Now, back to the response of Tinubu's lawyers. They said that Atiku is only challenging the election, that Tinubu's records he's seeking from Chicago State University has nothing to do with the election petition he's challenging in court. Of course, going by all the narration, you will understand why it is essential, especially when you know that this man has a history of certificate scandals or forgeries. When he was governor of Lagos State, in the documents he filed with the electoral body, he claimed to have attended a non-existent secondary school. When it was discovered, he said that it wasn't him that filled the documents, that it was one of his associates. Yes, admitted that it was a mistake, but he never filled in the correct school. Up to today, going by the documents he filed when he was contesting the presidential election, he left both the primary and secondary schools positions blank. So you can understand how far he can go to cover up his past. In trying to convince the judge in the U.S. District Court to block the release of Tinubu's records from Chicago State University, Tinubu's counsel told the judge that since Atiku is just challenging the results of the election, that the school records seems to be for another litigation altogether, and that Atiku is not part of that litigation. They are just mixing everything up in order to confuse the judge. Hopefully, when Atiku's lawyer replies, they will set the record straight. The truth is, Atiku can still tender this evidence in court. It will no longer be at the presidential election petition because they are in deep deliberation right now. Everyone is awaiting their judgment. But definitely, like other litigations, it will go to the appeal. And the appeal is the Supreme Court of Nigeria. And going by Supreme Court rules in Nigeria, any party can still present evidence. The more they try to hide that information that Atiku is seeking, the more it arouses curiosity of people. They should know, everyone, his lawyers, the judge, everyone, even the Chicago State University staff, they should know that there is an issue of potential identity theft. They wouldn't want to help an impersonator hide the evidence. This is because it is obvious that the person that Chicago State University admitted in the 70s was a female and an American citizen. That person is not the same as Tinubu we know in Nigeria. And Chicago State University made that information public when they answered to a subpoena in the past. That was last year. So there's nothing to hide. All of you guys involved, the Chicago State guys, you didn't commit any crime. Don't commit a new one if you help someone to hide evidence. Also, Tinubu's lawyers telling the court that Atiku is not an interested party is somewhat laughable. Elections apart, if someone submits a forged document to an institution, that institution has the right to go to the university or the maker of the document to verify the authenticity. That's exactly what the lawyer did last year. He came to Chicago State University, they honored the subpoena, he received the documents and went to court. That's exactly what Atiku is doing, so he's an interested party. Atiku was a candidate in the presidential election alongside Tinubu and Peter Obi and other candidates. So he has every right to seek ways to disqualify a candidate who is an impostor. Yes, not only that, he was involved in narcotics trafficking and money laundering, and the election was flawed. You can check out the EU report on the election. In fact, Nigeria fell short of the standard they set in 1993. That's 30 years ago. Despite all the technology deployed in this election and spending $500 million to conduct the presidential election, they still found a way to rig the elections by blocking the upload of the results in real time. So it's not true that Atiku is not part of the litigation. It is actually one of the grounds for disqualification of a candidate if it is determined that he forged a certificate. It is there in Nigerian laws. So it is hoped that Atiku's lawyers will write a convincing report to the judge, and the judge will understand one rule in law. If a party is hiding evidence, he is actively blocking evidence. That means the evidence is injurious to him. And in such a situation, the judge should move with prejudice and grant the subpoena without delay.